welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will get a preview of what's coming up in 2022 for the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. President Tim Cahill is here. First, though, as always, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, brilliant sunshine out there. It's 26 degrees right now. We'll get a few degrees warmer this afternoon, mix of sun and clouds, not too much melting going on today, and it'll refreeze tonight. Temperatures will dip back down into the teens. We'll start to defrost a little bit tomorrow for the first day of February. A lot of clouds around, but it will be milder. Tomorrow's highs into the mid-30s, even warmer on Groundhog Day. Wednesday, lots of clouds, low 40s, maybe mid-40s with some afternoon rain here on Thursday. Right now, again, sunshine, 26 degrees here in Quincy. In the news today, the cleanup does continue after Saturday's blizzard. A snow emergency does remain in effect here in Quincy. That's to allow crews some more time to clear the streets as best as possible. Parking is banned on the posted main roadways. It's allowed on the odd-numbered side of side streets. However, officials urge motorists to get their cars completely off the street whenever possible. Also, there is no school in Quincy today to allow for more cleanup. Quincy did receive 30 inches of snow from the storm. This time-lapse video we're showing you of the parking lot right outside our studios here at the Thomas Crane Library in Quincy Center shows the storm beginning overnight Friday, all day on Saturday, finally clearing out yesterday morning. There was no widespread flooding or power failures in Quincy during the height of the storm. City officials say there may be some overnight street closures on some of the main arteries around schools and MBTA stations all this week to allow for more snow removal. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch is hoping that the City Council will act soon to help begin the redevelopment of Wollaston Center. Last week, the mayor reintroduced an order to the City Council asking that they approve the creation of the Wollaston Urban Redevelopment District. The mayor says the council has failed to act on that request for the past year, delaying the revitalization of the Wollaston Business District.
We need that tool. We need that overlay district now to help us figure out or execute what we want in Wollaston, but it also incentivizes some investment there. These things don't just happen. You know, you don't snap your fingers and a building goes up. There's a lot of pieces to it. It's complicated, and we have to draw our interest and draw our investment into it. Now, we've been working with a number of the property owners in the Wollaston district, but quite frankly, everybody's been waiting for the urban redevelopment district. And you know, I know that I certainly respect the role of the City Council, and you know, many of them have frequently criticized the administration on things, and that's fair game. But the reality is, the zoning is controlled by the City Council. We offer, you know, amendments to the zoning code. We offer new zoning, but it's really that body that has to make that decision. And you know what? If they don't like what I put in, then enact something else or make some changes to it. But to sit idle for a year in committee and it died in committee, I think is the wrong message to send to the businesses of Wollaston. So I certainly hope now we have a new ordinance chair that will have a robust set of meetings and get something done down there.
Quincy Ward 1 City Councilor Dave McCarthy is now the chair of the City Council's Ordinance Committee, taking over from Councilor at Large Ann Mahoney. The mayor has not changed his mind about not providing any funding for the City Council to hire an outside attorney. The council last week passed a resolution asking the mayor to provide $60,000 for outside legal counsel. City Council President Noel DeBona says councilors want independent legal advice when they're debating major development proposals or issues.
I think it's not a bad thing to do and talk about. It puts it in the, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, some of the things that our counselors are asking for, I think the administration and the mayor, they ask for a lot of askings for us too. So you kind of have to meet us somewhere in the middle here too. So it's not a bad thing. I've supported it. I've supported some legal counseling for the council just in case there's a situation that happened. And Councilor Andronico had mentioned it previously in the last term is, you know, the stuff that happened in Fall River, where the mayor had, you know, I guess embezzled some funding, and I guess he was in a court of law. I mean, he was, you know, he found guilty. So he had the fellow councilors had to use their legal counsel and it was a whole, conflict of interest talk about that, So I'm not saying that's going to happen in Quincy, Massachusetts, but it can happen, and it did happen in the city.
City Council had previously hired attorney Jim Shea to provide legal counsel about the Quincy Center redevelopment plan. Navona says that Shea's services are no longer available. Quincy Ward 2 City Councilor Anthony Andronico is calling some attention to a health issue of his predecessor. During this past week's City Council meeting, Andronico made an appeal for a kidney donor for former Ward 2 Councilor Brad Crowell.
Brad's wife, Laurie, signed up for what's known as a donor swap because she doesn't share the same blood type as Brad. And effectively, Laurie would donate her kidney to a recipient with type B blood, while Brad would receive a kidney from a person with type O blood. With that said, if there's anyone out there who might be a match and wants to learn more about the process of donating a kidney or about the kidney swap to potentially help Brad and the Crowell family, if you could send an email over to quinzykidney@gmail.com. Again, that's quinzykidney@gmail.com. And I know Brad prefers to avoid the limelight and do things behind the scenes, usually a very private person, but I felt it was important just to help spread the word here and let him know and his family know that we're thinking of them and we're keeping them in our thoughts.
The 42-year-old Crowell has been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease and is on the verge of requiring dialysis. His wife, Lori, made his condition public recently. She told me that Brad hopes his condition will raise awareness about the kidney donor process. Crowell resigned from the city council last year after 10 years of service. Well, Cops for Kids with Cancer recently received a $17,000 donation from the Quincy Police Department. That money was raised from the police department's annual No Shave November event. Quincy Police Chief Paul Keenan extended the event through January this year in order to raise more funds. Earlier this month, participants gathered at Alda Barbershop for a shave-a-thon, finally shedding the beard they've been allowed to grow for the fundraiser. Cops for Kids with Cancer's president, Helena Rafferty, praised the Quincy Police, local businesses, and other organizations that participated in this year's events. Coming up, Quincy Chamber of Commerce President Tim Cahill is here. That's next. Welcome back. Quincy Chamber of Commerce President Tim Cahill trudged his way through the snowdrifts from 1400 Hancock Street in Quincy Square to our studios this morning to say hi. Hi, Tim.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
Good, how you doing?
Good, good. No worse for the wear.
Thanks for coming over.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Just had to do a little roundabout route to find the openings in the snowbanks.
That's right, yeah.
But overall, not bad. I mean, really, not bad at all.
How does the Common look, Hancock Adams Common? I'm curious.
It's clear.
Clear?
It's clear.
Okay.
Kilroy Square is clear.
Okay.
The sidewalks are in pretty good shape. I mean, there's big snow drifts,
Right.
where you push the snow up.
Yeah.
But even at the top of Adams Street, where I live, they were pulling up, because it's near a school, they're getting on top of the big piles
Yes.
because
Yeah.
the plows had to put it somewhere. It's a massive storm. And we
Yeah.
got 30 inches of snow.
I know.
That's
significant, yeah.
I think it's a record for us anyways.
Could be in Quincy.
Even from the storm it wasn't bad in comparison to the 78 storm on the coast and everything.
Correct, yeah.
But as I was walking in from Kilroy Square, the grass in front of Chestnut Place, Peter O'Connell's new building, was bare.
No kidding.
Which would mean the wind was just howling,
Yep.
I can imagine, because it usually howls. And there was just no snow on the grass. The grass was green. Everywhere else was snow, so I'm saying the wind was really, really blowing. And inside the garage, some cars were covered with snow
Sure.
because of the windows and
Yes.
stuff. If you were facing east, I think, and hoping not to have to shovel out, I think you're still going to have to shovel out.
No, it was a classic nor'easter.
So
the
it
wind
was,
dictated
but
that,
all
for
in
sure.
all, not bad. I mean, it was a shame that because it was a Saturday, it hurt our businesses.
Big time, I bet.
The restaurants and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm sure it hurt. It hurt the weekend hurt. But at least the forecast was right.
That's true.
So we didn't waste a storm. And overall, I mean, it's, as we just said off camera, it's nice to be one day closer to February.
It absolutely
which
is.
makes us one day closer to March, which makes us one day closer to April. So, and I think things feel like they're getting back to normal.
Do they?
They feel that way here in Quincy. I'm sure not everywhere else, but certainly here in Quincy. you just see people getting on with their lives. I mean, Omicron was tough for in terms of losing staff and, disrupting. But overall, from the businesses I talked to, they managed, they got through it.
Okay.
Business was, January is usually a little bit off anyways because it's following the holidays.
Yep.
So it's not like a big month
Right.
for retail and businesses overall. But I think we are definitely moving through this. I think even people who have been afraid of COVID are done with COVID.
All I can think of with the storm is, oh my gosh, just one more thing for these businesses to have to deal with on top of everything
But
else.
they deal with it.
Yeah.
And again, it's better for it to come in January than to come in the spring.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Not that snow comes in the spring, but bad storms. So because you're generally just, you're dealing with what is usually a downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the challenge really more than customers has been employees, getting
Mm-hmm.
people to work, because so many people have come down with COVID in the month of January. And hopefully that eases up and we can get some folks determined to come back to work. Because I think that is our number one struggle right
Is it
now
really the
for
workforce?
retailers,
Okay.
for businesses in general, for schools.
Mm-hmm.
Getting students, getting teachers, getting employees back to work who have been sick or at least have been quarantined because they contracted
Or were
COVID.
exposed to somebody that
Exposed
had
to
it, perhaps.
someone.
Yeah.
So I think that those kind of restrictions are easing as well as
Yeah.
far as even exposure now because we can't all be quarantined. Some of us have to work and just being exposed, as I believe we probably all were in January, doesn't mean you get it. I was exposed to it.
Yep.
I didn't get it,
Yep.
so at least that I know of, from a family member. Haven't been sick during the month of January. So, I mean, I think we just have to get back to work and sort of letting this rule our lives. And from my, short visual look, I think it's becoming more so. We had an actual in-person
I
event
was
on
just gonna ask
Thursday.
you if you had anything in person.
The night before the storm hit.
Yep.
Had a nice turnout. It was at Abbey Park in Milton,
okay.
one of our members, and we co-sponsored this with the Milton Chamber of Commerce. Had 25, 30 people there, which is, a reasonable number for January. And
Before a big snowstorm.
the restaurant was full.
Okay.
The restaurant was full outside of us as well.
Wow.
So it was obviously, and it seemed like business as usual. So I think we're getting there. Our plan, which just started on Thursday, is to have a whole slate of in-person events
Okay.
throughout the year.
Really?
We're not planning anything. We'll still have our digital events to supplement. Once a month breakfast, and we're focusing on business. Folks who have businesses in the chamber and that want to promote those businesses or talk about issues that they deal with. We have Envision Bank coming on, one of our morning brews, in February to talk about the market. Interest rates, things like that.
Sure.
We had a cybersecurity expert who has a business, technology business, talk to our members in December about how important it is to get someone to check whether or not you're open to hacks, whether you're secure. Is anyone checking things before you get hit with a ransomware
Right.
or get locked up or get hacked? So we're working on that, but we're planning a full scale of in-person breakfasts starting hopefully in March. Annual meeting is scheduled right now tentatively for March 29th.
The business expo.
In person, yep,
In
Business
person?
Expo.
Okay.
We're going to go back to the expo.
Okay.
We're not going to crowd it as much as we have in previous years,
Okay.
but we're going to have a good number of people, hopefully, who will be willing and able to present that day, and a couple of speakers as well. So
Granite Links again?
Granite Links.
Okay.
Granite Links. So right now it's scheduled for March 29th. We're
Okay.
just trying to line up all of our speakers and our exhibitors. So that just opened up. Golf tournament, which we had last year, we'll have again in the spring. We'll have the mayor come and speak at one of our breakfasts, hopefully probably in late spring, to update us on development, on issues in the city.
Yes.
So we expect to be back to normal in terms of what we did prior to COVID, and to do more things that we did during COVID. Like
Yeah.
we're already starting preparations for the farmers market.
Okay.
To come back to Kilroy Square for a second year, and then do a beer garden for a second year, and then a series of vendor pop-up markets
Yes.
like we had for the holidays.
Yeah, how did that go? The winter
It went great.
market,
It went great.
yeah.
It was really, feels like it was a century ago.
I know.
It was only a little over a month ago. It was awesome. It really was. We had cold but perfect weather. 6 days of events, days and evenings of events, and a great crowd virtually every time we opened.
Okay.
No issues with the tent, no issues with security. Kilroy Square was perfect for this. We had over 70 vendors between the 6 days that we did
Yep.
it. It was great. It really was great. There was nothing I would have changed, I don't think. We got lucky in some areas, especially with the weather. The first day, actually, it snowed, which was the day that the city was lit up for the
right,
holidays.
sure, yes.
That was the only day that we had some issues with some wet snow that came, but it's the holidays, so you kind of expect it. The vendors seemed very happy, cold, but happy. They did very, very well, so we're excited about expanding on that.
I was gonna
Kilroy
say,
Square
do you see
is...
like a seasonal market there, like a spring market, summer market?
Well, we'll start with the farmers market, and we're trying to figure out what works best for markets. The summer really didn't work well last year because on Saturdays people go away.
Okay.
So we might look at a Thursday evening after work.
Sure.
Or combine it with our farmers market, which I think is what we're going to do to start, is combine the markets, have the two markets together.
That's
A
it.
farmers market here at one section of Kilroy Square, maybe using the inside space for a vendor market, and extending it so that people know that on certain dates you can come down to Quincy Center, do some shopping,
Yeah.
do some eating, and take advantage of that great space.
Who were the shoppers, Tim? Were they the people that live at Chestnut Place and west of Chestnut? Did they find it? Or-
Combination of those folks, people who live around the square,
Yep.
and people who have lived here as long as I
Is that
have.
right?
I mean, I saw people I went to high school with,
Okay.
families. I would say the vast majority of people that were there I didn't know,
Okay.
which means they are new,
They're new people,
relatively
yep.
new, but not just from the apartment buildings, but people who have moved into Quincy, bought houses in the neighborhoods, came in from House Neck or
Yep.
from Marymount. It was a good mix. It was a really, really good mix, and like I said, they flowed through the spot. They loved. I think they loved this outdoor event,
Mm-hmm.
even though we had the tent, and it was a good base for us to start. We figured out how to do it. We figured out how to do it well, and now we're going to figure out how to do it even better as we go forward.
This is what I was wondering, if it's, maybe longtime folks who said, I don't go to Quincy Square anymore, there's nothing there. Maybe they said, maybe I should take another look.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. At some point, a couple of days, it was 11 o'clock. We opened. People were there right
Okay.
away. They were coming in early. They just came.
Yeah.
And I think what really helped is now Kilroy Square is on the map.
Yes.
It wasn't when we started the farmers market.
True, yeah.
Now the signage is up.
Yep.
It looks beautiful, and the gallery is open. So we've
What's the
opened the gallery. That's the public space between
Oh, right.
Hancock Street
Yes.
and Kilroy Square. So we used that.
Yep.
We opened it up. We put some decorations in there. We lit it up, and we had some vendors in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look to do more events in there using the vendors that we have and maybe expand upon that. So it gives us sort of an indoor, outdoor option now, and we can run events virtually all year round. Starting in, I'd say, obviously we're starting now with our indoor events, and then when the spring comes, we'll do outdoor all through the summer and the fall. We just have to figure out what dates work, what days of the week work best, because the summer, when it gets hot, it's either hot or it rains, so neither one really works for an outdoor pop-up market.
No,
So,
nobody wants to be out
in the
there.
summer, I think people get away. So we'll look to, like I said, it's certainly not summer days. Maybe evenings or after
Sure.
after hours.
Stays light till 8 o'clock at night.
It's
yes? Yeah.
beautiful, and we've got it all lit up. All the trees are lit up. They'll be lit up all year
Okay.
round, and it's a perfect space. There's access. There's parking.
Yeah, how
and-
does the opening of General's Bridge now help that venue?
I'm sure it'll help tremendously.
Yeah.
It'll help tremendously. And obviously, it's a nice addition for the city. So as you're trying to attract people to downtown Quincy to take advantage of the city and the amenities and the restaurants, you've got now 3 public spaces. You've got Hancock Adams, the General's Park and Bridge,
Yep.
and Kilroy Square, and they're all sort of interconnected.
Yes.
One of the things that we were able to finally do last year, just towards the end of the year, was get our historic signs up on the President's Trail.
Yes.
Something that we unofficially kicked off last year. We'll be kicking off officially this year.
Okay.
But the signs are all up at the 10 locations. And now we're going to work on sort of filling in the gaps and really promoting the walk, which again includes Hancock Adams. It walks right by Kilroy Square, and it walks right by the General's Park as you're going south to Quincy.
Sure.
And what we've done is we've broken up the map so it delineates in 3 separate areas. You got the north end of the President's Trail, which is the Adams Mansion, as well as the Adams Academy and the Dorothy Quincy House. You have the downtown section, which is the church, City Hall, the cemetery,
sure.
the Common.
Yep.
And then you've got the southern section, which is the Liberty Tree, Adams' birthplace, and the Carn.
Oh, okay.
So
Is there an actual map, like a paper map? of
we're
that sort of-
developing,
Okay.
we have one, we're developing a new one.
Okay.
Updating it, and we'll work on signage,
Yep.
Getting directionals so people know they're on the map, and then try to activate it with potentially murals, events, art shows, things that don't have to be tied to history, but history can be the guidepost to bring you around.
Yep,
and
give them a
stuff.
reason to go, right?
So really,
Yeah.
really excited about what we've accomplished, but more importantly, I think more excited about what we can accomplish.
Yes.
When we first started this, I thought we get the signs up, we're done, and the signs.
Build it and they will come.
Yeah, and the signs really is just the beginning. It's
Okay.
just the beginning, an important part of it, but not the reason people are going to go. It's when they get there, they're going to see something that they didn't see before,
Yeah.
and get a little history of
Well,
it.
they're very attractive.
They are.
Went outside City Hall, and it's very professional. I mean, you'd think you're in the National Mall in D.C. It's very
Yes,
nicely
yes.
done, yeah.
We were watching a show last night, and we saw a historic sign, and my wife said, that looks just like the President's Trail sign.
Yes.
We believe, we really truly believe, and the city has been a great supporter of this, is that the President's Trail will be a unique and attractive and a place that will bring people to walk through the city. And as the city becomes more developed and more beautified, I think that's going to be an incentive
Yeah.
to get people to walk by. Because really, when you walk the trail, you see Quincy from a different angle than when you're driving, which most of us do.
Right.
Or running, or even biking. You see some stuff, and it'll be a good incentive also for our business community to step up their game, both in terms of the attractiveness of their businesses, and also sort of reaching out to people as they walk by or as they
Right.
come to the square and stuff. So.
Having parking, though, is a key, right, to getting people to come
Yeah,
downtown.
well, and there's 2 garages.
Right
There's
now,
President's Place, and there's the Kilroy Square
Right.
parking garage. There will probably be at least a third or a
sure.
fourth when the back, the Dunford and McConville Way get
Oh, the
developed.
Foxtrot development there. Yep.
Yeah, and you've got plenty of, again, right now still free 2-hour parking in the city, and you got T access. Both Quincy Adams and downtown Quincy access to the trail.
Yes.
So there's really no, we're talking to the Park Service about getting the trolley activated again this year, and having the trolley drive the trail
Yes.
as opposed to just going back and letting people get on and off.
Hop on, hop off. It's a very popular
it's
way in
very
Boston.
popular
and
because it's
Chicago.
it's if you were to walk it up and all the way around, it's about 6 miles. So it's a good walk for people.
Oh, yeah.
But that's why we broke it up, so you don't have to do it all at once. It's not numbered anymore, so
Right.
it's not like from one to the other. It's you can just
Have to follow
you
the
can
dots,
wander.
right?
You can wander, and
Right,
you can
yeah.
see things, and then wander over to the Thomas Crane Public Library,
Mm-hmm.
which is not officially on the trail, but certainly part of historic Quincy.
You'd be missing a lot if you didn't
You
take
would,
that in.
you would,
Yeah.
and that's what we want to do, is just let people discover and explore and see a little bit about Quincy. And it's unique to us. I mean, there's no other city in America that has the birthplace of 2 presidents
Right.
and their wives, and the burial place of 2 presidents and their wives. And it's really, and it's the more you do it, and the more the city invests in infrastructure and parks and sidewalks and bridges. I mean, it's a win-win, and
There's a lot
we're
of-
really excited about it in 2022.
Yeah. There's a lot of federal money coming into the city.
There is.
For
There
things
is.
just like that. Yeah.
Exactly, and we've met with Eddie Grennan, who's the new director of traffic and parking, about that. Jim Scribby, who's going to be sort of overseeing, the disbursement of some of that money,
Yes.
and it ties in perfectly with what we're looking to do, is to get people out of their cars, walking, knowing where things are, and safely crossing streets,
Right.
and roadways and stuff, and navigating that. We want Quincy to be attractive. It really is. We want to appeal not just to the newcomers, but those people who've been here for
Find your city all over again.
generations.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we're really excited about that. And again, that's part of the outside activity of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. So it's indoors and outdoors in 2022, and we're really excited.
TheQuincyChamber.com. Great place to go to get all the information.
All the dates and everything that we're doing. We've got a brand new website, which we introduced last year, and we're excited to showcase Quincy as best we can and work with the city to grow it and to make it a great place to live, work, and play.
Happy, healthy New Year, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, Joe. We'll see you in the spring. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Look forward to it. Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Not too bad out there. Still cleaning up after the storm. Sunshine and clouds. Highs near 30 degrees. Chilly again tonight into the teens. We start our warm-up tomorrow for the first day of February into the mid-30s and then low 40s for Wednesday and maybe 50 perhaps on Thursday. Let's hope. We'll see what happens. Thanks again going out to Tim Cahill for joining us from the
Thank you,
Quincy Chamber. Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Friday here in the show, Rob Corley will be here from NeighborWorks Housing Solutions here in Quincy. Until then, have a great week.